Hello everyone, and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan, and here we are. Oh, hang on. There is a really annoying gap in my overall rank. That should not be there. Let's just close the gap between the comma and the 2. Oh, that looks much more sensible, doesn't it? Hello everyone. How are we all today? I thought we'd do a reaction stream just to fill up the content, I guess, because obviously the game week hasn't finished yet, so I'm a bit hesitant about starting making videos for game week 27. So I thought basically we'd just do a little stream tonight and catch up, see how everyone's doing. We've got a few things to talk about. Obviously, we've got the DCL blank to talk about. We've got to talk about Harvey Barnes replacements, because obviously he is injured. He's going to be injured for quite a few weeks. So he's going to be gone for a month, so he's got to be replaced. Also, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about potentially replacing Bruno Fernandes, because I've been looking at my team and what kind of moves I want to be making. Seriously considering taking out Bruno Fernandes basically and bringing him back on my wild card in game week 31. So that's not really going to be a problem for me. I don't really mind getting rid of him temporarily, at least. And yeah, I mean, we could talk about my bench boost fail if you like. It's not. I mean, what can you do really? You know, Rafinha, Bamford in good form. Brighton keeping a lot of clean sheets. They're getting pretty unlucky at the moment. You know, what am I going to do? It looked like an okay bench boost. Maybe I forced it a little bit by thinking, oh, it's a double game week, but a bench boost. Maybe I could have saved it for another time, but at the same time, there probably was never going to be a much better time to bench boost for me. So, you know, it's kind of like whatever. It's kind of like whatever with the bench boost. And you know, I'm not that fussed. I mean, at the end of the day, I've gained 6 points on the bench boost already, so that's something at least. Well, 7 points actually, because Pope got his save point in the end, didn't he? And then we've still got another game of Pope to go. Pope against Leicester. Leicester not really got any attacking players left in their entire team. Lost Maddison and Barnes, and Vardy didn't look 100%, did he, in that game either against Arsenal, but it's a tough game for him, I suppose. So let's see what happens there. It's not been my best game week in the world. I'm not like over the moon, but at the same time, it's not. I mean, it's not exactly gone bad so far, has it? You know, I've gone up in I think 17,000 rank places already, so it's not too bad. I've still got more than the average player has players to play still. So overall, actually, you know, I'm not in a bad position. Certainly not been a catastrophic failure, but it's certainly not been quite as good as I hoped so far. But whatever. DCL, I'm not going to say, oh, I wish I hadn't captained DCL. I still thought it was the best shout going into the game week. He's still got another game. He's still got his easier game against West Brom. Everton's slightly better away from home, I believe, as well. So yeah, still, let's see what happens there. I'm not gonna be upset about it. Son was a bit of a pleasant surprise. Him getting nice 11 points. Was it 11 points? Yeah, 11 points. Yeah, that was quite a nice surprise, because I didn't think he would do amazingly over the double game week. He was certainly a player I was always going to keep, but I didn't have that high hopes for him, and yet he played really well actually. So actually, now I'm kind of thinking, wow, I'm glad I've got a Son in my team, especially going up. You know, one more game this game week, got a nice game next game week as well. So yeah, it's not too bad. I'm not in a negative mood at all. It's not been a mind-blowing, amazing, scenesy game week at all. But you know, it's not bad. It's not all bad. I'm still going up, and I'll probably finish on a nice green arrow, particularly if Dominic Calvert-Lewin can grab a goal in that second game. Then I think actually then we'll do okay overall. Dino clean sheet, which is nice. Hopefully he can get another one. That was one of my nice differentials there. Watkins has got a nice fixture against Sheffield United still to play, so that's very nice. And then Martinez, got to be another clean sheet there as well. He's absolutely smashing it, Martinez, isn't he? Emi Martinez, what a legend. What legend. Yeah, so a bit of a surprise stream. I've not really hyped it up or spoken about it too much. I'm so sorry, Dan Cross, for not making everyone aware. Maybe I should have spoken about it a little bit more. But you know, I thought we'd go live. I think I set the stream up about 2 hours ago, maybe an hour and a half ago. So a little bit of warning for you guys, and hopefully there's a few of you guys here who can watch still anyway. So there we have it. But hello everyone. Hello Dan Cross Moldy in the chat. Our admins, our awesome admins we've got up in here. The moderators. Jonathan Cruz on the members is here as well. Joshy Boy is here. Hello. So, what should we talk about first? I think, let's have a look at a couple of your scores. So, yeah, we've got some fairly low scores, some scores in the 30s, which is not ideal. And there's also some people with some very nice scores. I think it's kind of been a bit of a game week for the differentials, really, hasn't it? So I was looking back today over some of the differential picks I picked out on my video on Friday. I think the video was on Friday, or was it Thursday? Whatever it was. I was kind of looking through the players that did well, and it was kind of some of my differentials kind of doing okay, like sort of Firmino, Richarlison. You know, maybe I should be starting to pick up on some differentials myself. I am starting to get the impression that when I get my wild card in game week 31, I might go pretty differential with it. I might pick out some really nice, interesting players for that, because I do still want to push up the ranks. I still do need to finish top 100,000, because if I don't finish top 100k, then, well, I've got to wear the Spurs shirt. I've got to wear a Tottenham Hotspur shirt in the final stream of the season, which is something I don't really want to do. I will do it if I don't finish top 100,000. I still do think I will finish top 100,000, but it is tough, especially, you know, when you get to these kind of ranks around anything from 300k upwards. Everyone pretty much has the exact same team, and you're basically praying for a load of your players on your own team to not do well. So Bruno Fernandes has over 100% effective ownership every single game week. I think it's something like 95% of players at my rank have Bruno Fernandes in their team. Wow. Like, you know, 75% have Salah. 75% have Gundogan, 50% have Cancelo, 50% have Stones. So it's just super high ownership all over the place. Emi Martinez, he's like 70% owned in my rank. So the only way to get up the ranks really is going to be differentials, and I don't want to force it really until I can get my wild card in. Until then, we're just going to keep making sensible transfers and try and capitalise on the game week 29 blank, which I think a lot of people will suffer from, to be honest, in game week 29. I've got currently, how many players have we got for game week 29? I've got Pope, Rafinha, Bamford, White, my 4 bench guys today. Then I've got Watkins. No, not Pope, sorry, it's Martinez. Then I've got Watkins, so that's 5. I've got Son, so that's 6. I've got 3 transfers. 3 transfers to make between now and game week 29, unless I take -4s, which I don't really think I will, to be honest. And yeah, my basic thinking is, well, Bruno Fernandes is going to be a guy who can be sacrificed, because I'm thinking, let's go a little bit differential in the meantime. I'm looking at Gareth Bale right now. I'm looking at, believe it or not, I'm looking at Aubameyang right now as a bit of a differential in game week 29, maybe. Could be kind of interesting. I've genuinely thought about getting Neil Maupay just for that one game week 29 against Newcastle. I've thought about it just because, you know, I mean, I may as well have some fun if I'm wildcarding pretty much immediately after. And this channel is not all about doing amazingly. It's also about having fun, enjoying FPL, because at the end of the day, it is a game and we do have to enjoy it. So, yeah, maybe do a bit of that. But there are options. There are options. But I really want to focus basically on, if we just move to the game week 29, which players from these teams do I want? Well, I mean, the fixtures are not great. They're really not. And this is kind of the issue. Game week 30 is one to look at as well, because Spurs play Newcastle. So I do want to get in another Spurs player. That is something I do know. Gareth Bale is screaming at me right now. So Bruno Fernandes to Gareth Bale looks like that could be pretty good. If I go into my picks team, I'll show you how I'm currently lined up. I don't know how this is gonna be. So for example, if Gundogan misses next game, if he is benched for whatever reason in the second double, then I'll probably make Gundogan captain, because if he's had a rest, that kind of gives me a little bit of confidence that he might play the next 2 in a row. Currently, I've got the captain's armband on Cancelo. I do think Cancelo will play against Manchester United, because you play your best team in the best games, and Cancelo is part of the best Manchester City team. Stonesy also always not sure about that. And other than that, the team is actually looking pretty good, other than Bruno Fernandes, who is kind of not performing in the big games, kind of consistently now. And all he has now is big games. So, obviously, Crystal Palace is within this game week, so we're not looking at that. But Manchester City, West Ham, who are on fire, blank in game week 29. They've got Brighton, who are actually performing pretty well defensively. They've been a bit unlucky recently, the last 2 games, since I bought in Ben White, basically, which is kind of annoying, kind of frustrating. But after that, Spurs, yeah, maybe you could get out Spurs, Burnley as well, Leeds. So I would want to bring in Bruno Fernandes back in on my wild card in Game Week 31. But basically, do I really want Bruno Fernandes for Man City, West Ham, blank, and Brighton? I'm really not that bothered. I think I could do a little bit better with my money, to be honest. I'm not really that bothered about losing a bit of value in him if the points that I get are better. Mr. A says, more pay is horrible, better Maja at least. Yeah, Maja would be the sensible option, and to be honest, that's probably the line I will go down at the end of the day. Look, I was saying kind of half tongue-in-cheek that I'll bring in more pay. Obviously, I know that more pay is not a good transfer in. You know, there you go. Yeah, a few people are saying about Jesse Lingard. I've had people sort of message me outside of YouTube as well about Jesse Lingard. Guys, try and remember that Jesse Lingard, he can't play against Manchester United in game week 28. So you'd be bringing him in for 27, which is okay. Yeah, fine. Who do West Ham play in 27? Is it Leeds? Yeah, it's Leeds. Yeah, so they play, West Ham play, obviously, Leeds in game week 27, which I kind of think, yeah, that's quite nice, isn't it? But in 29, they do play against Arsenal, and I honestly don't know how that game's going to go down, to be honest. So I'll probably be more tempted by Antonio right now than I am with Lingard. Not to say Lingard is a bad shout, but it's just the fact that he can't play in 27. I don't know. So, but yeah, Lingard is definitely should be kind of on your radar for Barnes replacements. But am I 100% convinced? I think if you are going to do a Barnes replacement, look at these fixtures here. Look at these. There's only 4 fixtures. There's only 8 teams. But in terms of Barnes replacements, this is why I'd be kind of looking. So, you've kind of got from Aston Villa, you can maybe go for someone like El Ghazi. If you can afford someone like Son or Bale, then maybe do something like that. There are, obviously, Rafinha is an option if you fancy doing that. At Brighton, the only real player that's standing out from Brighton when looking at the stats in terms of attacking players is Trossard. So if you wanted to go for Trossard against Newcastle, I think that's an okay move. It's kind of risky. Very risky, in fact. It's really differential. But, there is that option. Alan Saint-Maximin, potentially. But, I mean, Brighton, they concede goals in the most unlucky ways. So it's kind of hard to guess how they're going to concede their goals. I don't know what kind of player would score against Brighton, to be honest. So it's really tough. So up front, I think I'm probably, for game week 29, I'm probably going to take out Calvert-Lewin and put in Antonio. So we've got Watkins, Bamford, Antonio up front in game week 29. So kind of thinking that way. And aside from that, it's probably going to be Bruno Fernandes out to Gareth Bale. Yes, I am genuinely thinking about doing this. I really like the look of him. In that game. Against Burnley. He looked good. And I feel like Gareth Bale, he's unfit in the sense that he gets injured all the time. But I think he can play multiple games in a row. For sure. People talking about players like Nicolas Pepe. I'm not sure about that. That is kind of real differential. He is so inconsistent. I really would not want to be doing that. You and Eagle in the chat saying, is Holding nailed on anymore? No, he is not. He really isn't, so that's kind of tough. So wouldn't be thinking too much about doing that, if I'm honest. So, but yeah, I think the best thing to do probably is to try and maximise the amount of attacking players you have playing in Game Week 29. The annoying thing is, when I look at these Game Week 29 fixtures, all 4 of these games I look at thinking, these are 1-1 games. Fulham Leeds could easily be 1-1. Brighton Newcastle could easily be 1-1. West Ham Arsenal 1-1. Aston Villa Spurs 1-1. And when you got 1-1, it's kind of like no like big attacking player hauls, no big defenders. Defenders getting any clean sheet points. It's kind of like it's kind of tough. So I'm really, really struggling with who the best players to bring in for Game Week 29 are. So trying to like half focus at least on thinking about other players who could be on the radar. I kind of feel like maybe going for another Aston Villa player. It really depends on whether they get that double game week in 28. So do keep an eye on that still, guys, because there is that possibility that in game week 28, Everton play against Aston Villa. And if that is to happen, that means triple up on Aston Villa, basically, because you'll have this double game week in 28, and of course they will play in game week 29 as well. Game week 29 is going to be a super, super low scoring game week, so I'm not going to rip apart my team. I'm not going to take -4s all over the place. Don't think it's worth it. I really don't. It's like I was saying about each of these games could easily be a 1-1 kind of draw. So it's like, do we really want to be going all in on a game week like this? Even if you get 11 players together, and those additional, so the average player will have 6, 7, 8 players playing. If on 6, 7, 8 players you probably score like 20 points, on 11 players you'll probably score like 25 points. So it's kind of like, it's not really worth it, is it? It's just not. It's not an insane game week at all. There's just not really much in it. Someone says, why don't you mention Grealish? Because he's injured at the moment. If things change, if Grealish comes back and, he plays at least one game before game week 28 probably, then I'll probably say, yeah, okay, let's have a look at Grealish. But right now, I'm not going to say right now, okay, switch Harvey Barnes to Jack Grealish, because we don't know if Jack Grealish is going to be ready for game week 27 or even game week 28 or even game week 29. We don't know. Lucas Moura plays in 29 and he's got 2 goals in his last 2 games. Yes, but Lucas Moura is not 100% nailed on, and that's the difficulty there. So you're kind of cutting a corner a little bit there, going for a cheaper player in hopes that he plays. Game week 29, you're already going to struggle to get together enough players. You kind of do want those players who are at least going to get on the pitch, Jordan Davies says, are you wildcarding in 30 or 31? I'll be wildcarding in 31 just because for game week 30, my team actually looks quite good. Let me go to game week 30 here. So you can just have a look here. So Aston Villa against Fulham, that's not too bad, particularly on the defensive point of view. Leeds players, I've got 2 Leeds players there against Sheffield United. That's pretty nice there. Yeah, I'll probably have at least 2 Spurs players by game week 30. They play against Newcastle, so again, not too bad there, is it? So yeah, game week 30 doesn't look too bad for me. So which kind of makes me think game week 31 is probably the one to go for. I could change my mind. Rebel Master says, unimpressed by DCL performance. Yeah, he was a little bit disappointing today, but like a lot of you guys have captain DCL. I know a lot of you guys have triple captain DCL as well. The game week isn't over yet. It's tough. It's not a great start. We would hope to get a goal, but at the end of the day, this is only the first of the double game week, isn't it? This is only the first game, and the second game is the easier game, which is more that can be said to some other players, like Harry Kane. He's already played his easy game. Now he's got a slightly harder game against Fulham. Bruno Fernandes, again, blanked for the first game, but now he's got his easier game for the second game week. So you don't need to panic too much quite yet. It's still all good, guys. Don't worry too much. You can't really judge it until the end of the game week. So there you go. It's not too bad. Dean Smith not saying much about Grealish injury. He kept saying Barkley would be back, and that injury dragged on for a while. Mouldy, you're absolutely spot on there. I really would not want to guess. I found no information about Grealish's return. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm just waiting and seeing, exactly the same as you guys. John Stubbs says, time to sell Alex McCarthy. The time to sell Alex McCarthy was a little while ago, to be honest. He's been a sell for a while. Shrenick says, Dyer not nailed anymore. Dyer hasn't been nailed. Dyer was was not been nailed for at least a month. Maybe even a little bit more. He has been kind of missing a couple of games. So, and he's not even been playing well. As up Zoni says, harder game versus Fulham. You're joking, right? Jag Parkinson says Burnley are better than Fulham. You see, this is why you've got to do your research. Look at the recent games. How many goals a team has been conceding. How many chances a team is conceding. Literally, just look. Fulham are very clearly in better form than Burnley. It's not even a question. And the reason you're saying, Burnley are a better team than Fulham is because we think back and we think, Burnley, a typically very good defensive team, and Fulham, very typically, going back in the past, a weak defensive team. But right now, that is literally not the case. It hasn't been the case for, months and months and months. Fulham, okay, they had a bad start in the Premier League this year, but after sort of game week 5, they've actually really picked it up defensively. And for the most part, they've actually, defended pretty well. They've kept a couple of clean sheets. They've done okay. They've had some tough games as well. They've been okay. They really have been okay defensively. So for all of you guys who want to claim that Burnley are better than Fulham right now, you can think what you want, but the woke gang up in the FPL mate gang, like we know that Fulham are in better defensive form. We're not questioning that. We're not questioning that at all because there's just no need. William Samir says, Dan, just accept you're wrong about Kane. I literally said Kane is a fantastic triple captain. And I even said if I was triple captain, I would go for Kane over DCL every day. But, as I keep saying, I want to pick a little bit differential and I want to go with my gut a little bit more. And my gut says DCL, better fixtures, about the same form. So that was a no-brainer for me. I went for DCL and the sensible pick was always Kane, and I always told you Kane was the sensible pick. So if you want to tell me, Dan, admit you were wrong about Kane. First of all, the game week hasn't even finished yet, and second of all, I've never said Kane was a bad pick, not once. I just said that I prefer DCL, and I'm going to stand by that. Which is absolutely fine. So look, obviously, guys, I know a lot of you guys have Captain Kane and stuff. So when I say things like, I prefer DCL personally. It's very easy to say, well, DCL scored and no, Kane scored and DCL didn't. It's fine. Kane was a great pick for this game week. He's really an absolutely fine player, really good captain pick for the game week. But I didn't pick him. I didn't want to rip up my team to try and get him. It wasn't for me. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means I didn't put him in my team. You can say, Willian. What did Willian score this week? Willian scored like 12 points. How dare you, Daniel? Daniel FPL mate, why did you not tell us to put Willian in our FPL teams? He was clearly the best captain choice. He's got 12 points. Nah. Just no. Just no. Oran McNeil says, Kane's form has been better than DCL's though. Yeah. I don't know. He's been okay. Kane's form has been okay, but DCL's form has been okay as well. There you go. Jack Parkinson says Fulham have a higher expected goals conceded than Burnley over the last 5 and conceded 1 less goal and the same big chances, very close. Yeah, but look at the fixtures. Kane 30 goals a season, striker. DCL having a 20 goal season. Yeah, you know what? Kane is obviously a better player than DCL. Come on, no one's trying to claim that DCL is a better player than Harry Kane. But Spurs have not looked amazing recently. Now they've got Bale in. Obviously, they're really looking interesting. I'm liking the look of Spurs a lot, really. I'm really excited by them. And I say that as an Arsenal fan. Like I'm saying, I want to take up Bruno Fernandes. I want to get in Gareth Bale. I like the look of it. I really like the look of it. So, yeah, people saying now, Bale versus Moura. Thoughts on Bale? Bale's, looked really good. Really good in that game. Exciting as well. Really exciting. So, yeah, if you fancy a punt on Bale, then I absolutely endorse that. I think that's a really fun little move to go for. And it's one that I'm probably going to do myself. Bruno Fernandes, super higher owned player. Not differential at all. Gareth Bale in. Exciting. It's a little bit risky, but exciting. Good fixtures. And low ownership. Differential. He scores, I go up the ranks. So I'm really I'm liking the sound of that as a lot. And I'm going to keep playing risky and differential and aggressive. I really am. You think Saka is a good Barnes replacement? Maybe. The thing is that's putting me off about Saka and Barnes is obviously they didn't play against Leicester. And Leicester is a tough game, which kind of gives me an impression that maybe for Arsenal right now, and it almost certainly is the case right now, Arsenal are kind of prioritising the Europa League. So if there's Europa League fixtures on that game week, maybe some of our better players, Aubameyang, Saka, are going to be rested for the Premier League games. And, you know, playing those Europa League games, which is not really what we want. Spurs still have Europa League and Mourinho will be targeting this. Yeah, same kind of situation with Europa League, with Spurs targeting that, but I don't know. It's definitely food for thought. Bale is a risky one. I do need to do my research properly. I need to see if he plays next week. I need to see where the Europa League fixtures fall. I'm not making any decisions right now, but it's certainly an exciting prospect, right? Corey says, Morpay got 16 points in the away game. Thoughts on that? Well, are we talking the away game against Newcastle? Because if so, that was like game week 3, wasn't it? Or game week 2, something like that. When Morpay was absolutely flying, like right at the beginning of the season, who trolled me, baited me into buying him. We all know how that went, guys. We all know how that went, especially if you've been here for a while. Crazy one. Crazy one indeed. Salah to KDB and Gundogan to Rafinha. What do you think? Yeah, that's a possibility. You know, especially if you're captaining KDB, I would certainly want to be having a look at. I'd want to be having a look at KDB if I had him. If I had KDB for this game week, captains is definitely much on the cards. Jack Parkinson says Fulham have played Burnley, Palace, Sheffield, and Everton. Burnley have played West Brom, Fulham, Palace, and Brighton. Yeah, you can say that's close fixture-wise, I guess, but you know, Burnley played a Palace without Zaha, Fulham and West Brom who can't really score, Brighton who can't score to save their lives. You know, I mean, we look at the fixtures that Burnley have had, and I know maybe this is an agenda thing, and maybe for both of us, for both me as a non-Kane owner and non-Kane captainer, I'm saying, well, Fulham don't look that good. Although, to be fair, I did say that before the game week started as well. And I did even say it about Son, who I do have. So, but I know that if you guys do have Kane captained, but particularly in your team, you are going to be saying, you're going to be clutching at the idea that Fulham is an easy fixture. I've been pretty consistent in my views that I don't think Fulham is an easy fixture. Anyway, quick look at Burnley's recent fixtures. You know, West Brom, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Brighton. Really quite easy. Really quite easy games there. And then, I don't think I have a Fulham player, so I have to go back. But I just kind of want to show you that they've actually... I'll perhaps get up some proper stats as well, if it'll load. But let's go on Areola, because he plays every game. You look at some of these games like, you know, West Ham, who are bang in form. Leicester, obviously conceded 2 goals there. You know, this was kind of, they had this blip here. But even before that, you know, no goals conceded against Southampton. 1 goal conceded against Liverpool. They didn't get rolled over by some of the bigger teams. You know, Chelsea could only score 1. Tottenham could only score 1 goal against them. And Liverpool can only score 1 goal against them. Man City can only score 2 goals against them. They're not rolling over to anyone. In the same way as Burnley, if we go back to Burnley, we can look at underlying stats as well if I can get it up. But we look at Burnley and they kind of, you look at this and it's like Man City 2 goals, Chelsea 2 goals, Aston Villa 2 goals. Didn't they get smashed by someone at some point? Was it... I can't remember who just absolutely dominated them. Was it Man City at some point? Maybe I'm getting mixed up. I don't know. I just feel like Fulham... There's something like... before this game week started, they were ranked something like 3rd lowest for expected goals conceded in the entire league. which is just mad. That's like insanely good. So yeah, no, we can go on and on about how good are Fulham. I think they're actually okay defensively. I know they can't score, and I know they often lose by like one goal. They lose like 1-0 or draw 0-0. We can argue all day, but that's kind of what I think. Fulham are just not a team I would want to be targeting right now. If it was a single game week, there would be no way I would captain a player against Fulham. Like, genuinely. Even if it was like a Bruno Fernandes or someone like that, I just wouldn't do it. I just would not do it. But if you guys feel differently and you don't like the look of Fulham, you maybe think that the stats aren't telling the full story. Actually, maybe they're a little bit weaker than they seem. I don't know. That's up to you. Of course. You got to go where you got at the end of the day. We can think of as many reasons as we like, but go for it, guys. If you feel really strong, then you go for it. Burnley had the second. Okay, right. Well, I mean, let's just see. I don't want to sit here for the rest of the stream arguing about who's better out of Fulham and Burnley. I believe Fulham are the better defence. I think most people would probably agree with that, unless you're a disappointed Kane owner clutching at straws. In which case, fair enough. I'd be very interested to know how many people who haven't captained Kane genuinely believe that Fulham are a worse defence than Burnley. I'd be really interested to see that. But there we go. Marco Simonov says, you're not captaining a City player versus Fulham in Game Week 28? Probably not. No, probably not. Well, mostly because I've got two. Gundogan would be the only attacking player. I wouldn't really want to captain a defender, really. I mean, maybe. I would be tempted to captain a City defender against Fulham, certainly. But no, I'm not. I wouldn't really be considering captaining a City player against Fulham. No, I would not, if I'm honest. It's not. Unless something changes between now and then, they do start shipping some goals and actually looking quite weak, then yeah, no, I wouldn't be doing that. In fact, I don't even know why Salah's on the vice captain. It probably should be Son based on that performance. Looked really good. Let's save that quickly. Out of the single game week players, I'm quite liking the look of Spurs. I really am. So yeah, guys, if you're not tripled up on Man City already, then have you been living under a rock? But yeah, Bruno Fernandes to Gareth Bale is definitely tempting me as a 3-4 game week differential punt, just to see how it goes. That's what's tempting me right now. So this is not Spurs hate or anything like that. It's fine. I like the look of him. Hravoji Lilovac says, I have triple captain Kane, and Fulham is much better defending versus Burnley, especially with Adebayo. So I can never. He doesn't even like being called that, does he? Because I know people struggle with his name in the back. But still hoping for one goal for Kane. Yeah, absolutely. One goal for Kane is very much on the cards. But most people are not expecting Spurs to score more than 1 or 2 goals against Fulham. We're not expecting it. The fixture you were targeting was always Burnley with a Kane. That's for sure. Mick says, my bench boost, Pope, Tarkowski, Rafinha, Bamford. Oh no! He says cheers, as if that's somehow my fault. No, it's just unlucky. It is kind of unlucky. Cancelo only one game in a double game week? Yeah, probably. I say probably, but there is a very good chance he plays both still. Jack Parkinson, I think it's just the perception we have of Burnley. Yeah, absolutely. We think of Burnley as this really good defensive team, when actually, not actually been that amazing. They've kind of had the Pope factor, as they always do. He does smash it, doesn't he? So if Aston Villa have a double game week 28, captain Emi Martinez, you know what? Genuinely, yes. Like, if Aston Villa have a double game week in 28, I would be well up for captaining Martinez. He is just smashing it Wow. Jack Anderson, Sterling to De Bruyne, madness or genius? I would say if De Bruyne gets benched in this second game, then who do they play? Is it Wolves? I actually can't remember who's City playing their second game. Yeah, Wolves tomorrow. Yeah, if for some reason KDB is benched against Wolves, then, you know, Sterling to KDB immediately, captain KDB, just go for it. Yeah, he'll probably play guaranteed the next two. It'll look really good. Foden's been performing against the better sides in the league. Yeah, but it's just such a rotation risk. I don't know. Like, you take that risk, don't you? If you want to go for it, then go for it. Bruno and Barnes to Son and Bale and Saka for a hit. Oh, Son/Bale. Can't you? You know what? If you take out Bruno, can't you get in both Son and Bale? Because if you can get both Son and Bale in, then that is pretty mad. Bruno and Barnes to Son and Bale is a really, really interesting proposition. What do you make of Alan Saint-Maximin from Newcastle to replace Barnes? Yeah, maybe. I feel like Newcastle are a team I don't have a lot of faith in. Fixtures aren't bad, though, are they? They're really not that bad. So, yeah, it's definitely a consideration. But it's just Newcastle, isn't it? You know, even on a really good fixture, Newcastle was still only scoring 1 goal. Maybe 2 is a push, especially when they haven't got Callum Wilson, who is by far their best player. He really is. Heikel says, how likely Everton and Villa will have a double game week? It's pretty unlikely, if I'm honest. It's pretty unlikely. It could happen, though. But, you know, it's not something we should plan for expecting it. Don't expect it. Expect the unexpected. I guess that's what we got to do. Josh Grimmer says, oh, just realised how harsh your bench boost was. Yeah, it didn't go well this year, but there's always next year. No, it's fine. It really was not an ideal bench boost. Bale is injury prone. Yeah, he is for sure. I can see him get injured playing 2 games in 1 game week. Maybe. I mean, I feel like he's about to play 2 games in 1 game week. At the end of the day, if he's playing really well and he's getting Spurs out of this hole that they have been in, then he's got to play. He's got to play. Have you thought about your game week 31 wildcard yet? Not really. I'm kind of just waiting. A lot can change in a few game weeks, and I'm kind of waiting. Can you show your points, please? They're at the top of the screen, which would be there, but kind of like further over there. So game week points 61 with an asterisk beside it because the game week hasn't finished yet. Keep Ing/James Ward-Prowse for double game week. You could, but I wouldn't really count the Man City game as a double game week. It's just a 2-point bonus, I suppose. Barnes and Ings out for Harrison Reed and Harry Kane. Not too sure. But, I mean, I guess at least then you've got players playing in game week 21. But it's like Harrison Reed, realistically, what is he going to get? You're taking a -4. Triple up on Spurs from Dion. Yeah, triple up from Spurs is a decent proposition, I think, right now. Particularly if you're wildcarding in game week 31. We're pretty much good up until then, aren't we, for Spurs players? Why no one talks about Mahrez? Because he's a bit of a troll player, to be honest. He's not exactly known. He's a player that will make or break you on FPL, but he will more likely break you. Jack Pocket says, someone like Bale has to play when fit. If he can just as easily get injured in training. Yeah, absolutely. He's not like an unfit guy, is he? He's never been, you know, he's generally speaking throughout his career, has been known as a very fit player who can play every single game week. Wasn't he like a cross-country champion of Wales in like his teenage years? He's a very fit guy. He just gets injured a lot. Often some fairly bad injuries. GJL Reed says, what's happened to Bruno? He blanked against Man City, which, you know, is, you know, what can you say? When you blank against Man City, you can't exactly be shocked. You can't exactly be shocked because it's a really, really tough game. A really tough game. But that's saying that Bruno's not a big game player. I don't think he's a big game player anyway. And he hasn't got many big games coming up. Well, he hasn't got any small games coming up. He's got mostly big games coming up, which is kind of why a lot of us are thinking, could we take him out? potentially. Game week 27 looks like a low-scoring week. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think there's definitely points available for Spurs. I think there's points available for West Ham. I think there's points available for, well, obviously Man City, but that's because they've got a double game week, I suppose. So there are still points available. Chelsea are an annoying team because every game with Chelsea is either 1-0 or 0-0. They've got to go down as the most boring team in the Premier League right now, if I'm perfectly honest. Sorry, Chelsea fans. He is... sorry, Bruno played Chelsea. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I said Man City. I'm thinking of this game week, aren't I? Well, I mean, that goes back to the conversation of Chelsea. Chelsea are an absolute horrible defensive proposition right now. They're second best only to Man City in terms of defensive stats, and they are just so boring. So boring. I mean, I've tried to watch Chelsea recently, and it's been a genuine struggle. It really has. I can't stand it. I'd rather watch Crystal Palace. No, actually, that's a complete lie. Crystal Palace are more boring right now than Chelsea. But that's the only team that's more boring than Chelsea right now. But there you go. Anyway, my point kind of is with Bruno is he's not a big game player. He's had a tough fixture against Chelsea. He's got another tough fixture against Man City. After that, he's got a tough fixture against West Ham. After that, he's got blank. After that, he's got a game against Brighton. And after that, it's a game against Spurs. So, it's not looking amazing for Bruno Fernandes right now, if you're honest. Jack Anderson says, you're the best FPL content creator. Thank you very much, Jack. I really appreciate that, man. Craig MCFC says, what should I do with Foden? Well, he's got a double game week, so I would keep Foden. What do you think about playing a Southampton goalkeeper? Not this game week, no. He's probably going to lose all of his bonus or all of his points through goals conceded against Manchester City. Yeah, not goalkeeper transfers, generally speaking, not a great idea anyway, so maybe not. Man U literally parked the bus against Chelsea. Yeah, I guess they did that. Yeah, but generally speaking, Manchester United aren't quite as boring as Chelsea right now, I don't think. Nowhere near, actually. What do you think about Reguilon? I was hyping Reguilon up a lot, actually. Hopefully a few of you guys actually brought in Reguilon after I kind of suggested that he was a really good shout. So hopefully, hopefully a few of you guys went for him, and hopefully it paid off for you guys. Dan Bowen says, hello, Daniel. Hello, Dan Bowen. Chin up, Dan. I'm sure you didn't want to break your team for Kane. I understand that. I brought in Kane, and now I lack funds for move Barnes to Son, etc. I mean, I'm not upset. I mean, Kane scored 6 points in the easier of the two games. It's definitely not a disaster. You know, it could be a whole lot worse, couldn't it? I'm not too worried about that one. I mean, if I would want Kane in my team, obviously, but there's no desperation from me at all. The chin is firmly up, and hopefully we'll finish this game week fairly strongly. Don J says, thumbs down for that Chelsea comment. Well, I mean, what do you want me to do? This is an FPL, it's an FPL channel. I'm going to talk about things in FPL terms. I'm going to talk about, you know, just because it's your team, I'm not going to hype them up if I don't think they're good. I'm not. I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I've literally been going, oh, well, Jack Anderson, thank you for joining as a member, by the way, you're a legend. Yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan. I've said pretty much all season, Arsenal are just not worth going on FPL. They're just not scoring goals. They're not doing it. They're looking rubbish. I'm going to be realistic. I'm not going to start playing favourites with teams, because as soon as you start playing favourites with teams, you know where your FPL rank goes? It goes... Sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry. Have a look at Trossard's heat map. He's replacing Barnes for sure. Yeah, I said earlier on in the stream, Trossard is the only attacking player from Brighton I would consider going for. Is Holding nailed? No, he is not. I've had Timo Werner for so long, no clue why. Always waiting for him to score a hat-trick. Yeah, keep waiting. he's really been a disappointing acquisition. He really has. Barnes and DCL out for Son and Antonio. Hold fire on DCL out just for now, because by the end of the game week 27 deadline, we might find out whether Everton have that double game week in 28. In which case, we would probably want DCL, wouldn't we? Chelsea good for FPL defensive assets, mate. Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely be going for some for some Chelsea defenders, I've kind of hyped up Rudiger. And a lot of people were asking me actually about Rudiger prior to this game week, saying, you know, tough fixtures, Manchester United and Liverpool. And I said then, and I'll say it again now, 0-0 in both of them is just so up for grabs. Just because that's kind of just Chelsea right now. They're a 0-0 kind of team. A 0-0, 1-0 kind of team. So, and the big games as well, they've been typically low-scoring games. All of the big games, well, not all of them, but a lot of the big games have been 0-0s, 1-0s, mostly 0-0s, to be honest. Really kind of disappointing from a football point of view, because when you see two massive teams playing against each other, you want to see big classic games, high-scoring, exciting, end-to-end stuff, and it's kind of just not happening. Dean says, is Orba worth a punt? Yeah, I think so. Thoughts on Tierney? Good fixture this week, plays in Game Week 29, and then we have a solid finish to the season. Yeah, I like Tierney. I want to see him string together a couple of games first, because he is very injury prone. We kind of know that. Worth doing Cancelo and Salah out for Reguilon and KDB. Already have Diaz and Gundogan. You know what? That's not the worst idea I've ever heard. It's not the worst idea I've ever heard, to be honest. Yeah. The issue with that is that KDB... I don't know if I'd want to be doing any transfers right now other than players who play in Game Week 29. And that's kind of the game I'm going to play. I'm going to focus entirely between now and Game Week 29 on getting players only who play in Game Week 29. Bale or Mane as a differential. I would prefer Bale. Jack Anderson, what are my perks? You can use custom emojis. I can see you in the chat more easily, as I did just then. That's pretty much it. You get a cool badge next to your name. It's all good. It's all good. Members, you know, it's not going to change your life, but it's 99 pence per month. It's the cheapest it could possibly be, and I did spend a little bit of time making the custom emojis for channel members, so it's something, and it helps support the channel. So all members who have joined the channel really appreciate it. And if any of you guys do want to join as a member, then please consider it. Go ahead. I would really appreciate that. We're going to go off soon. I was kind of waiting for peak viewers. We're probably at peak viewers right now. So this video is actually sponsored. This stream is actually sponsored. And hang on, if I can find the graphic, who's it sponsored by today, guys? Who is the stream sponsored by? Well, it's none other than Manscaped. Guys, let me talk to you about Manscaped. Let me talk to you about Manscaped. I genuinely really like the products from Manscaped. I genuinely really do. They're kind of like an ethical company as well. They're in partnership with charities and stuff. And the guys at Manscaped are really nice and polite as well. So basically, guys, Manscaped make products that are all about men's grooming. So we're talking about razors to shave your nether regions. Yes, I am talking about shavers for your balls. I am. And like, it's genuinely really good razor. I've got one. It's really good. They've got a new one out as well now, a new razor. But they've got this really cool LED light. I should maybe go grab it and show you guys. But it's got an LED light, which is really, really handy. Really handy. You know, I'll never look back on the LED light on a electric razor. Honestly, it's insane. You will never go back. You'll never go back, guys. And of course, they do all kinds of other products. Like, they've got a nose hair trimmer that I really, really need to get, because in my old age, as I approach my late 20s, my nose hair is getting there. I mean, I'm not saying I'm old, but the nose hair is growing for me. I don't know if any of you guys are having the same problem. If you are having the same problem, then maybe that's the kind of product you want to get. But the whole thing is, Manscaped, they're a genuinely really good product, really good company. It's if you want to treat yourself, get something nice, you can get 20% off and free shipping, which particularly, shipping can be quite expensive, and the 20% off can actually save you a decent amount of money as well. So if you're in the business, if you're in the market for ball shavers, nose hair trimmers, aftershave and stuff like that. They have a pair of boxers. I've got the pair of boxers as well. Super comfortable, by the way. They're boxer shorts. Super comfortable. Guys, FPL Mate at checkout, 20% off and free delivery, and it helps support the channel as well. Declan HC says, can confirm Manscaped is very good. There you go. There you go. I can confirm it's good as well. They are, honestly, they are genuinely great. Moldy says, get that shaver ready for your wedding night. Mrs. FPL Mate is expecting peak performance. She will absolutely be getting a well-shaven FPL Mate up in the honeymoon suite. Don't you worry about that. I'll bring my Manscaped shaver to the wedding venue. So there you go. Manscaped, Danscaped, as James Dodd. Manscaped, Danscaped. Dan Cross, thank you very much for popping that in the chat. The link is in the description as well if you want to go straight to the website via that. Just use the code FPL Mate. Guys, if you fancy it, just go for it. If you fancy a little bit of a flutter, why not? Supports the channel as well. So there you go, guys. That is the sponsorship. There you go. There you go. So, guys, let's have a quick looky-loo at some of the price changes for tonight. I think that's a sensible way to round off the stream. We've been going for almost an hour. It's a bit longer than I usually do on a Monday, to be honest. But here we are. Lingard's going up. Kane's going up. Mount is going up. Can't say I'm entirely surprised by those players going up. If you are getting in Lingard, actually, can you guys see? Let's open this up. No, because that's not full view, is it? If we get rid of Manscaped, whoop, there we go. If we do that, you can have a look and you can see if the target is over 100, that means a player is going up in price. Let's take it to 25 players, see how many other players might go up. So yeah, Lingard, unsurprisingly, looking like they might go up. Kane, yeah, kind of, I don't know. Mount is not a player I'd be going for, if I'm honest. Lingard, if you are thinking of buying him in before the price rise, do remember that Lingard can't play against his parent club, Manchester United, in game week 28. So you're bringing him in for game week 27 and 29. No game week 28 for Lingard. Boom. So if as long as you're happy to bench him, you've got cover, fine. Other players going up, Martinez, yes, you should definitely have him. Rafinha is a good player indeed. Stones, rotation risk. I don't know if I'd want to be taking a punt on Stones at this point. Target is a player I would be interested in, yes. So lots of kind of interesting players there. Coming up. And then going down, I imagine there's a few players going down. Yes, there is. Cavani's going down, obviously. Maddison, Grealish, injured players going down. Salah is disappointing us all. But I'd rather keep Salah than Bruno Fernandes, it has to be said. Justin, me going down. There we are. Justin injured, so you kind of get that. But I don't actually know if he'll drop because they do place a little bit of a buffer on players going who are injured. And then loads of other kind of irrelevant players, really. Martial going down, yeah, sell him. Sterling's potentially going down, probably not quite yet, but he is on the way. Any other big players on their way down? Gabriel, no one has him. Bednarek, no one has him. Ryan, people still have Ryan. Really? Probably not. Trying to find some other big players who might be dropping down in price soon. Tyrick Mitchell, okay. Go down to 3.8. He's going to be a nice bargain to have. If you're on a wild card, you need to get some money in your starting 11. Could be good. There you go. Mount to shout. Yeah, not too keen. I'm not massively keen on Mount, to be honest. Nicholas says, Arsenal are the best team. Come on, you Gunners. I'm an Arsenal fan, and I don't believe that. We're okay. What to do with Dyer? Keep him for now. Do you think Zinchenko is more nailed on than Stones and Cancelo? Probably not. But I see why you might think that. But probably not any more nailed. And also, you know, he's just got a less of a chance of attacking returns. So, not really keen. Play Digne or Rudiger next week. Play both. Every game Chelsea play is going to be a 0-0 for the rest of eternity. Guys, yeah, that's the end of the stream, guys. We'll talk more thoroughly about buy, sell, keep, avoid tomorrow. Obviously, we'll do the buy, sell, keep, avoid video. On the next day, which is Wednesday, we will do my team selection video where I will try and tell you my final transfer. If I make one. I'm leaning towards now Bruno Fernandes to Gareth Bale. but I need to see how sure I am about that. And that's basically going to be the video schedule. And then have we got a Saturday deadline or a Friday deadline? It's a Saturday deadline. So we'll do a deadline stream on Saturday morning. On Friday, we'll do another video. You know what I could do on Friday? I could finally do... Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll finish off the Q&A video that I've been promising you guys for ages. I'll finish that off, upload that on Friday. Then we've got a video Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wait, have I missed a day? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, deadline stream on Saturday. We'll fill the week up. Don't you worry, guys. We always fill the week up with videos. We'll fill it up, and one of them will be that that Q&A video. Maybe we'll do a captain's video as well. We'll see. We'll see what comes up. Maybe we'll talk about Game Week 29. I don't know. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for joining me. Please do leave a like on the stream before you leave. Please do consider subscribing if you are new around here. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. And good luck with the rest of the game week, basically. I'll see you over on Twitter, I'm sure. But until then, I'll see you later, mates.